Everybody, it's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit. We're in the 3.5 Monster Manual, and we're working on the Rast. The Rast is a medium outsider. It's a fire elemental. Basically, it's just as a paralyzing gaze, which is like a 1d6 round stun, and it has improved grab, blood drain. They're voracious eaters. They want human blood. They also can fly, and it's they can fly or crawl. They have about 12 legs and looks like a koboldish kind of head. So I think what I got here is I got a rat from Caesar Miniatures. That might work as its head, though it could be a little small. We'll see in a moment. And I have a dragon head here that from, I don't know what this is, I can't remember what this line was. But it's like an alligator with the antler more than a dragon. So either one of these could work. I think maybe this one might be better. So what we want to do is, if you're using a little dinosaur, which the only reason I didn't use one of my regular little dinosaurs is because I feel like I've been using them an awful lot. And I'm just trying to do something, a little different. And then if you had tinfoil left over from any of the other projects you did and a little ball that you didn't clean up, that looks like that can make an adequate body in this situation. So I think we can kind of get that. And then glue that head to the body. With just a dab of super glue. Look at the top and bottom here. There we go. That must be the bottom. Okay, let's get that on there. Something like that. And we're off to a decent start, it looks like. So now, I've already done my base up, and this is just a piece of like a little wooden base. And I put some, it had some hot glue on it. I melted the hot glue a little bit, and then I put baking soda and super glue on there to solidify it. And I didn't do a great job, but that's okay. So now let's get some wire. And it says they have 12 limbs, and I'm not sure if we're going to get 12 limbs on here. But what we can do, let's look at the reference art of the limbs. Kind of get an idea how they're set up. So, Rast. Looks like they just kind of come down, out, and then curl in. So what we can do is we can mimic that. So we want it to have the little down part, the little out part, and then curl it in. And we can do that with a pair of needle noses pretty easily. For that, where that crimps, just grab it, pull it tight against that. Something like that. And then snip off the excess. And I'm going to set these on this cardboard so I can find them again. You know I'll lose them anyways. So down, out, and curve around. Snip that off. Okay. All right, let's do this a few more times. This is not one of the most fun parts of these kind of projects, is it? No, not at all. The repetitive tiny part making is seldom the most fun part. Especially once, if you've watched me. As soon as we go to start using these tiny parts, I will start shooting them all over the house, dropping them, losing them, not being able to find them, and the normal things that I do every time we do anything with little parts. But you know what? It's all for you guys, right? I honestly, I would not make a Rast. I have just used, in the past when I've actually fielded a Rast on the table, I just had a funky spider miniature that I had made out of like a Halloween store spider, and I used that as a Rast. Because, nobody in my party that was playing at the time really knew what a Rast was, and I knew it didn't matter. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's start with 8, and we can add more if we think we can make room for that. Okay. We got 6 there. Okay. And I got enough there for one more if we need it. Or two more if we need it. So let's get the bottom side of this guy and kind of get the angles going to how these are going to work. So I think this easiest way to connect these would be to do two at a time with little globs of hot glue. We're going to start on the front, and we're just going to drag a glob of hot glue across the front of it and burn our fingers. I can't, oh, you damn it. Okay. I'm going to get that in that glue and kind of angle it in a way that we can use it as his leg. And where's the one I dropped? It's gone forever, of course. Alright. Let's do the same thing with this side. Glue's probably dry now. Yeah, it's mostly dry. And it's stuck to me. Oh, I pulled his head right off. Okay. No problem. We'll get it. Let's heat this back up. Get a little glob on there. Okay. Get glob back on there for his head and get his head connected again. All right. Now, I just want to try to get a better bite on that with that glue. All right. Sweet. All right. Now I can kind of hold this guy by his front leg here and start working my way back. And I'm going to try to do one at a time since I struggled with the other. I was watching some funny stuff earlier. I just don't want to talk about it because people get so worked up and get so charged up by everything. But I was just watching something, and there was a dude wearing a T-shirt, and it said, "Mark safe from Diddy." I don't know why. Every time I think about it, I just laugh. I don't know if what Diddy did was real or not, or I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a law enforcement agent. I'm not directly involved with any of that. I'm just a guy in my basement. But from the outside, if it is true, it's pretty terrible. And it's probably not something I should be laughing about. But part of me just can't help it because, you know, the dude's wearing a T-shirt that says Mark safe from Diddy and making comments that were, you know, humorous. And hopefully, this stuff is not true. You know, let's hope that no human being is doing, I mean, we know human beings do this to each other. Let's hope that all these people that are being accused didn't do this kind of horrible shit to another human being. That's horrible. It really is. Like, you know, I don't know how to put it other than that, but you'd like to hope it's not true. You know. All right, so I have how many here? 6. I'm going to need to make another one for sure. At least one more. I'm going to set this down and try to make a couple more of those. I want to talk about boundaries, I guess. That's a good thing to talk about with that conversation. It is important that as adults, and even as young adults, young men and women, that we have to understand that there are boundaries in this world. Like putting your hands on someone else without their consent, whether it's to choke them or to do something sexual or just uncomfortably touching someone that they don't want, that kind of unwelcome touching. There are boundaries that we have to recognize. And if you are not appropriate about boundaries, the world is moving forward. And stuff that might have been laughed at or okay one time ago, which probably should never have been, if we're going to be like real about it, this is the kind of stuff that's going to create issues. And you're not going to get a lot of sympathy if you're the one who's just like F these people and their boundaries. If you genuinely made a mistake or misread a situation, it's not going to go so far that you need legal interaction in a general thought, So keep that in mind when you're out there putting your hands on people. Like, no personal boundaries. Have respect for people's personal space. Don't decide that you know what's best for someone else. And if you have to physically defend yourself, make sure it's for a valid reason. Make sure that you're not crossing boundaries or becoming the villain in a situation. Because chances are there are not a lot of people asking you to just randomly place your hands on them. Unless you were like, Brad Pitt or something, that maybe that's a little different. I'm sure there are a lot of people asking you to put your hands on them because from what many women have told me, Brad Pitt is some kind of mystical being like a unicorn. I don't see it personally, but hey, you know what? No one's perfect. All right. So there's our general Rast body, and they do fly. So one of the easiest things to do would be to put this guy on a flight stand of some sort. And to do that, I'm just going to get one of my toothpick pieces I have here. And I'm going to snip off a little bit here. I'm going to get a dab of glue around there. I'm going to rub it into this base and try to get it to stick nice, roughly in the center. Then I'm going to get some super glue and run it down there. That's pretty sturdy now. Okay, now let's get him on there. And to get him on there, we're just going to get a dab of glue on the bottom side of him here. I'm going to set him on that. And let that kind of sit for a minute and cool. I'm going to angle him forward a little bit as it's still cooling. Yeah, I think I like that look better. All right. So to get the bottom side good and secure, we're going to get glue. Okay. And something like that. Nice. Now, all his legs are going to be real flimsy, and we're going to have to just kind of come from the back of his neck and around the sides of his head. Fill that in with a little bit of glue, and then we're going to have to work that around onto those limbs and let it drag down onto each individual limb to make sure these are sturdy. Okay? Then we're going to have some little weird spots where it didn't work out exactly how I wanted. And we'll have to come back through and clean those up some. All right. So, I think we need to do a little bit of glue on top of his head here and cover up that spot that I cut off the antler thing. Alright, and then let's clean up his legs. And to do that, not clean them up, let's texture up his legs. To do that, I'm just going to drag glue all down his leg. Do one side at a time. All right, so there's going to be some spots where there's no coverage there, and that's where I want to come back and try to touch again briefly and try to just clean those up and make them look a little better. You could probably hit all these legs again, and it wouldn't hurt your cause, so I might just do that. All right. No perfection there, but I think that kind of captures the look. There's some chunky spots I'm not real happy with on the legs where it bounded up a little high. I'm going to see if I can break those, and if I can't, I'm just going to leave them. All right, so I'm just going to adjust these legs. They should be able to be moved around how I want at this point. Here we go. All right, give me 1 second. All right, +2 hot air gun and burning. Get a cheap brush and some dark brown paint. I recommend dampening up your brush first if you're using something like this. I'm dipping it in my yesterday's dirty paint water from making the false hydra. And I'm just going to come up here and paint him brown, dark brown. All right. Let's hit this with a hot air gun again. And let's get a medium brown and a really soft Dollar Tree brush. Let's kind of hit the base up some, give it some variation. That'll help our cause. And we want to brush out just kind of around him. We don't need to cover every inch. We just want to lighten him up for the next tone we do on him. And we're going to use the same brush for that next tone. For as far as the flight stand goes, it's pretty squibbly. It's moving around a good bit. Probably didn't put enough super glue there. We can't do that now though, or we'll mess up our model. Alright, so I'm getting this orange color. It's called Jack-O-Lantern. And I'm leaving my brush with that same color of medium brown. Just getting a dab of this. And then I'm going to start brushing along him and heavily creating some contrast and lightening him up. Okay? Just like that. And you want to make sure you don't get this on the base, because this heavy contrast is going to be, you know, what differentiates him. We are going to do the paint the flight stand as well, but there we go, something like that. Now I'm going to get a lighter orange. This is called apricot or apricot, depending on where you're from. Like that. Alright. We're going to lighten that up. Same thing. And now we're going to wipe a lot of this off, okay? We're going to really... Oh, there's another leg. This is like a beautiful fall color here. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Now we're going to just touch him up, focusing on the top parts and on the last joint of his legs. Let's hit the size of his face a little bit. Okay, okay. Let's get rid of that brush. Let's do something with his eyes. I'm going to get a tiny, tiny brush and an off-white color for his eyes. I'm just going to do a dot there. A dot there. I'm going to touch his teeth. I'm just going to kind of touch those. I'm not even painting them. I'm just like grabbing any detail that might be there with that paint. Now I'm clean that brush out, put it away, get a tiny brush, get black, do that flight stand. Now we got to dry this off before we go to the next phase, okay? I'm going to put my brush away after I clean it with my mouth and some water. So let's get a little bit of Elmer's glue, clear Elmer's glue before we get out the hot air gun. Oh, we have to do the hot air gun first. I'm sorry. If we don't do the hot air gun first, then we will, it'll stick to this flight stand. All right, I'm getting a toothpick. This one's kind of used and beat up, so it should be perfect for what I want. And let's get that glue right there. Let's spread some around on that base, real thin. Get it down in the cracks. Sometimes I wish I had a very tiny toothbrush for this. I think it would be amazing. Like a very, very small toothbrush. Not a paintbrush, a toothbrush. Some with stiff bristles and angled in such a way. Now I'm going to get my green flock out. Sprinkle on my base. All right, cool. And there he is. There's our Rast, and definitely ugly. So we nailed that. You could come back and do some red dots on those eyes. That wouldn't kill you. We could try that and see how it looks. Boop. Fractional brush, very tiny. Trying to get that bubble to pop. Pop you, bubble. Now he looks a little cartoony. So to fix that, I'm just going to get medium brown and paint over him like he has eyebrows. And that'll fix that cartooniness. Slim that eye up some. Alright, I'm Doom. This is my Rast. Thanks for watching. If you like what I'm doing here, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave me a comment. Check out the website and buy a miniature. Not one of these miniatures, but one of these highly detailed, high quality, sturdy, beautifully crafted Dungeon Swag minis. Buy our box set. We have a discount code in the description, or get a free box on us to try one out to see if you like the miniatures. The box set's awesome. Comes with 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 miniatures in it every month. It's all based off the weight of the resin, which the price goes up on the resin. We're trying to keep our costs down. The more subscribers we have, the lower we can push the prices, because when it takes some of the other expenses down, we can ship them out cheaper. So help us out by subscribing to that, and also join our Discord where we can paint and hang out and craft together and do whatever. Play video games. Asco and I both love video games, so come hang out with us there. Show us what you're working on, even if it's not D&D related. If you're doing Warhammer stuff, if you're crocheting, if you're an artist in some form, we'd love to see that stuff. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.